Did you know that One Piece has been lying to you about Luffy's IQ this whole time? In the first version of the manga, Oda wrote Luffy as intelligent? That's right, Luffy was actually making smart choices and thinking about his actions. Like this scene where he beats up a bunch of pirates and says, "I'll set those guys free at some point. If they got out and started rampaging, it seemed like I brought them here." Now, the Luffy we know now would never even think about this and would immediately try to find some meat. This is just one of the many Luffy facts that I've found. But this is just the start, because each fact from here gets more and more interesting than the last, so make sure you pay attention. Next, let's talk about how they changed Luffy's Jolly Roger to the classic Straw Hat flag that we know today. Not only was Luffy intelligent in the first version of the manga, but his flag actually had his arms as the crossbones. Imagine if we had this as the Straw Hat signature Jolly Roger. That's just crazy. But not as crazy as our next point, because did you know that Luffy was inspired by one of the biggest anime characters in the world? And of course, that character is none other than Goku. Oda has stated that he was a huge fan of Dragon Ball and based Luffy off of Goku. You can tell this by looking at their similar facial features, black hair, love for food, and of course their similar personalities. But hey, listen, Goku may be the goatest of all animes, but Luffy's done something no other manga character has. Luffy is the first manga character to ever appear on the front cover of a men's fashion magazine. Look at Luffy all tripped up, man. That's super cool, but I was even more excited after hearing that Luffy has his own golden statue in Oda's hometown of Kumamoto. After multiple devastating waves of earthquakes, Kumamoto was left pretty bad, and Oda actually donated 800 million yen for the reconstruction of buildings, which afterwards the city decided to build not only a statue of Luffy, but all of the Straw Hats throughout the city. But have you ever wondered why Luffy gives everyone he meets nicknames? That's because he just doesn't care to remember any of their names. For example, Marco's name is Pineapple, Captain Kidd is Jaggy, and probably the funniest nickname Luffy has ever given to somebody is to Cavendish, which is just frackin' cabbage. But if you do notice, he actually calls his crewmates by their actual names as a sign of not only respect, but love. And also, you can't forget about the time Luffy did something absolutely disgusting to Usopp. In chapter 604, you can see Luffy casually picking his nose, and if you look really close in the next panel, you can see Luffy putting a booger on Usopp, dude. And even worse, Oda left it on Usopp's shoulder for the next couple of panels. But if you're a real One Piece fan, you would know that Luffy cosplayed as the most famous Nintendo character. In One Piece Super Grand Battle X game, you can see Luffy in a Mario costume. Just look at how cool he looks. Not only Mario, but you can see him as Luigi too. The better Mario brother. All right, speaking of Mario, let's switch things up, huh? Did you know that Luffy was in the Olympics? Luffy, along with other famous anime characters, were featured as the ambassadors of the 2020 Olympics in Tokyo, which also featured gold medalists doing Luffy's signature moves. Yo! But we all know that Luffy's favorite food is meat, right? But did you know what his least favorite food is? It's actually cherry pie, and specifically the one served in Mocktown. Now, although we don't know why he doesn't like it, we do know that Blackbeard loves cherry pie, so this is a great way to contrast the hero and the villain. It's the small things, you know? Even if you've been watching One Piece for years, I bet you didn't know this fact. Luffy and Zoro, the two strongest pirates and best friends in the Straw Hat crew, actually grew up super close to each other. I mean, they were only a few miles apart when they were kids. It's like living next door to your best friend. I mean, no wonder why it was so easy for Dragon to get to Shimatsuki Village and meet up with the rest of the revolutionaries. He was literally across the street. So even if you've been following One Piece for a while, there are still hidden connections and surprises waiting to be discovered. Again, it's these little details that make the world of One Piece so fascinating. But we gotta talk about when a fan asked Oda if Luffy's you-know-where stretches, and Oda responded quite humbly, saying, "Every part of Luffy's body can stretch. Every part." But what's even wilder is that Luffy has a secret power that only one of 4 people have, and that power is called the Voice of All Things, which is an ability to hear inanimate objects or animals that don't speak the human language. An example of this rare power being shown is when Luffy first arrives at Skypiea. He hears the sound of the legendary golden bell, which is believed to have been lost for centuries. This sacred bell's voice, hidden deep in the jungle, guides Luffy and his crew on their quest to ring it. Another example is the legendary giant elephant Zunisha. During the Zou arc, Luffy was able to hear Zunisha's cries, and the only other people known to have had this power are Momonosuke Kozuki Oden and the Pirate King Gold D. Roger. But let's remember that even though Luffy is strong and fearless, there are actually 3 people he fears most. And before you take your guess, make sure you hit that like button real quick. He fears his grandfather Garp, his brother Ace, and most of all, Nami. Yeah, I'd be afraid of all 3 of them as well. Speaking of women, did you know Luffy has quite the fangirl? Not even from One Piece. Yeah, it's actually Gintoki from Gintama. Gintama is known for its extensive use of parodies and references from various anime, manga, and pop culture, and One Piece is very much one of them. Like when Gintoki and Katsuda dress up as One Piece characters to find the One Piece, but they're only searching for a kid's toy. Or when Going Merry shows up in the anime as well. Luffy parodies are shown all throughout the anime, which I think is super cool that the creator is giving One Piece some love. And listen, remember how I talked about Goku being a huge inspiration to Luffy and all? Well, here's a fun twist. There's another character from Dragon Ball who's connected to Luffy, and that's Krillin. The fun part is, the person who does the voice for Krillin in Dragon Ball is the same person who does Luffy's voice. It's like one actor lending their voice to 2 different awesome characters. Imagine! This connection between Krillin and Luffy's voices is a bit like having a hidden link between 2 of your favorite shows. You might not see it, but it's there in the voices. It's like a little secret that connects the 2 worlds of anime. So when you hear Krillin and Luffy talk, you're actually hearing the same talented individual giving life to these characters. It's a cool way that the world of voice acting brings different characters to life and adds a special touch to the shows that we love. So the next time you watch Dragon Ball or One Piece, you can listen for the voice behind both Krillin and Luffy. And I bet you didn't know that Luffy and Goku have actually met. It wasn't just in a cool manga collaboration either. It was a special episode where Luffy got to hop on the Nimbus Cloud, which is super famous in Dragon Ball, and you can only write it if you have a pure and good heart. And Luffy got to do it! This meeting between these 2 popular characters was like a dream come true for anime fans across the world. It was like the biggest crossover between 2 amazing anime worlds. Fans got to see Luffy and Goku sharing the same space, having a blast. This kind of meeting is a way for creators to make the fans' dreams come true and show their love for each other's work. So it's not just a Luffy and Goku meeting, it's also the creators saying, hey, let's make something really fun for the fans. A special moment in the world of anime that does not happen as often as it should. So it's pretty cool how One Piece is teamed up with other famous anime like Dragon Ball, Gintama, and now even Naruto. One interesting thing that happened at the end of Naruto's manga is the Straw Hat Pirates' Jolly Roger appearing on the cover of the last chapter. Imagine if you're reading Naruto and suddenly you see Luffy's pirate flag on the cover. Like, what? It's a way for the creators to show love and respect for each other's work, like I just said. And it's also like a friendly hello from one anime to another. I can't tell you how much fans love discovering these special little connections between their favorite shows. Are you kidding me? These collaborations are like a big high five between anime and manga creators alike. It's awesome to see different worlds like this coming together. Like, I know I keep going on about it. I just really want it to happen more, man. But talking about manga, there's actually a big change from the One Piece manga to the One Piece anime, and it all has to do with how the fight scenes are shown. In the manga, you might notice that Luffy seems to win fights quite easily. He's like a super strong hero who can defeat his enemies without much trouble. It's all there on the pages, and it feels so quick and smooth. But when we watch the anime, you might see something different. In the anime, they make Luffy work way harder in his fights. He might struggle more, get knocked around a bit, and face bigger challenges. Why? Well, it's to make the battles more dramatic and exciting to watch. The creators want us to feel the tension and excitement as we root for Luffy. Now, you might wonder, why are there so many episodes? And that's because the anime takes its time to show every little detail and build up the action. One Piece kind of gets special treatment in that regard. It's like they're making sure we get the full experience of the fights and really feel the ups and downs of absolutely everything. So whether you read the manga or watch the anime, you get to enjoy One Piece in your own way. Quick and powerful in the manga or thrilling and dramatic in the anime, it's all about what you like best. Either that, or they had to do what Dragon Ball did and wait for the volumes to come out, so they had to do filler and whatnot. But yada yada, we don't talk about that. Did you know that someone asked Oda the most out-of-pocket question of all time? And we just talked about Luffy's you-know-what, so this has gotta be good. In the One Piece manga, there's this cool part called SBS where Oda answers the fans' questions, and one of these Q&A sessions, Oda shared something pretty funny. He told us that Luffy, Zoro, and Brook only take a bath once a week. Yep, once a week. But I mean, I love it anyway. It shows the characters' personalities. Luffy, Zoro, and Brook are always busy with exciting adventures, and they're not really getting into that stuff like taking baths. Like, who cares, right? Just one of those little things that makes them unique and relatable. I only take baths once a month. I'm kidding. Yeah, that's very messed up. But not as messed up as what Luffy does every time he sees Kobe. You see, every time time Luffy and Kobe have an encounter with each other, Luffy always seems to just hit him. Now, whether that be because he just needs to save someone, protect his crew, or just because Luffy wants to, it's kind of messed up that it's every time. Now, when it comes to the exact number of hits Luffy has delivered on Kobe, we don't know. But there's another fascinating number associated with our beloved Straw Hat Captain that's nothing short of iconic in the world of One Piece. Luffy's trademark number, 56. Why, you ask? Well, the reason is the playfulness of the Japanese language. In Japanese, the numbers 5 and 6 can be read as go and mu, respectively. The combination of these two numbers results in gomu, which sounds remarkably close to the Japanese word for rubber. And gomu is not just a coincidence, it's a nod to the very core of Luffy's character and his extraordinary abilities. Also, there's actually an important detail about Luffy's birthday, in which it's the 5th of May. The 5th of May is celebrated as National Children's Day in Japan. This coincidence aligns beautifully with Luffy's uncontrolled, childlike personality characterized by a thirst for adventure, boundless optimism, and an unyielding spirit of happiness. In many ways, Luffy embodies the spirit of a carefree child, always seeking the joy of every moment, and always ready to embrace new experiences with crazy enthusiasm. It's also worth noting that Luffy shares his birthday with a character from the One Piece universe that you might have forgotten about, Tomorrow Black, also known as Fake Luffy. But that's not even the most mind-boggling aspect of Luffy's life. One of the most astonishing moments in the series unfolded during the Dressrosa arc, specifically in the Corrida Coliseum, where Luffy's participant number was 0556, and the significance of this number goes far beyond just a coincidence. The number 0556 carries layers of meaning, even more profound than the last. The 05 is a nod to Luffy's birthday, which falls on May 5th, as previously said, the 5th month and the 5th day. It's a subtle yet heartfelt tribute to Luffy's character. The 56 is a direct reference to chapter 556 of the One Piece manga, where Luffy goes to Marineford to save his beloved brother Ace from execution. This shows Oda's amazing storytelling and attention to small details that could even show up in the future. But have you ever wondered how Luffy would look in the future? Well, Oda actually drew what Luffy would look like at the age of 40, and you can see that this looks kind of like Shanks. But if you look at how Oda drew Luffy at age 60, he looks a lot like his grandfather Garp, and just like, wow, like no subtlety. Now we're getting into the juicy meat and potatoes, ladies and gents, because these are the final facts of the video, the most craziest facts about Luffy. Taking a moment to reflect, Luffy has mastered all 3 advanced forms of haki. Observation haki, which you can see him use during the battle in Udon, where he was leading Hyogoro through the battle and he says, "Can you see the future or something?" Armament haki, which I mean, you can just take one look at this tank of a man and realize that. And also, most importantly, the rarest haki, Conqueror's haki, which not even Big Mom or Kaido have mastered all 3 forms of haki. The fact that Luffy has mastered these advanced forms shows his rapid growth and proves that Luffy will become the Pirate King. Not only that, but Luffy has officially broken 2 world records in the world of One Piece. The first is that Luffy's the youngest person ever to pass the 1 billion berry bounty mark, surpassing Marco, Katakuri, Queen, and King, and is also the youngest ever Emperor of the Sea at just 19 years old. To put it into perspective, Shanks was 33 when he got the title of Emperor. Before we get into the final fact, please subscribe for more anime videos like this and tell us what we can improve on in the comments section below, and what you enjoy. With that being said, this fact is probably one you'd never even think about. Luffy's real dream is not becoming the Pirate King or finding the One Piece. It's actually much bigger than that, and it being to make a new era. In the One Piece Red movie, it's revealed that Luffy's real dreams isn't just to become a pirate king and get all the money, find out what the real One Piece is, the treasure. No, it's none of that. He wants to bring actual good change to the world around him. An era of peace. Just like the new era of the One Piece live action. And check out the video where we talked about the live action versus the anime/manga. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.